You know, my dear ones, over the years I've noticed that my skin isn't the same as it used to be. I remember well when I started feeling more sensitivity and discomfort using regular toilet paper, the kind I used my whole life. That's when my daughter introduced me to some alternatives that changed my life for the better. First, I tried wet wipes. Wow, what a difference. It's like a gentle caress on the skin. I use those made specifically for adults, which are more durable. But I learned an important lesson. Even when they say they can be flushed, I always throw them in the trash. My neighbor Joe had a serious clogging problem because of this, and the plumber explained that these wipes can cause issues in the pipes. Then, my son installed a bidet next to the toilet. What a marvel. It's a small spray nozzle that directs a warm water jet, cleaning everything without the need to scrub. At first, I felt a bit awkward, but now I can't live without it. Every time my friends visit, they are amazed and want to know where to buy one. And for when I leave the house, I discovered a special bottle with a directed nozzle. It's called a perineal bottle. It looks like a regular water bottle, but has a special nozzle that helps with hygiene. I carry it in my bag when I go to my grandkids' house or travel. It's discreet and very practical. What made me happiest was realizing that I'm not alone in this change. At the last senior group meeting, we talked about it openly, and many friends shared the same experiences. Mrs. Mary even joked that her only regret was not knowing about these alternatives sooner. I remember at first, I was resistant to change. After all, it was decades of using regular toilet paper. But today I can say that my quality of life has improved a lot. I no longer feel those uncomfortable irritations, and I feel much cleaner and more confident. Reusable hygiene tools. Oh, let me tell you how I discovered the world of reusable tools. It was after my granddaughter, who is very concerned about the environment, explained how we can take care of ourselves and the planet simultaneously. I started using soft cotton cloths, those really gentle ones, you know. I have a set that I use just for personal hygiene. At first, I confess it felt strange, but I learned a very practical system. I keep a small basin with warm water next to the toilet, where I can moisten the cloth when needed. Then, I place the used ones in a designated bin with a lid, and every day I wash them all together in the machine with hot water and mild soap. But the real discovery was the long-handled tool. You see, since I had hip surgery last year, I had difficulty cleaning myself properly. It was a struggle, and I always had to ask my caregiver for help, something that made me quite embarrassed. That's when my doctor recommended this special tool. It's like an extendable arm, you know? It has a long handle with a tip where you can attach the soft cloth. It gave me an independence you can't imagine. Now I can do my hygiene alone without having to twist or ask for help. I remember the day I showed it to my friend Tony, who also has arthritis. His eyes lit up. He had the same problems I did with cleaning, especially in the morning when the joints are more painful. Today he also uses it and always thanks me for the tip. One important thing I learned is to keep these tools always clean. After using them, I wash them well with water and mild soap, dry them in the sun when possible, and store them in a specific place in the bathroom. My daughter even organized a special shelf for this. The best part is that besides helping me daily, I'm spending less on disposable products. As my granddaughter would say, Grandpa is now eco-friendly. She always laughs when I try to say those words in English. Bathing as an alternative. Oh, let me share with you how I turn my bath into a real care session. You know, after I turned 70, I realized that some things needed to change in my hygiene routine. I'll tell you a funny story. On a particularly difficult day when my joints were aching, I decided to take a bath after using the toilet instead of struggling with toilet paper. It was a revelation. The warm water not only cleaned better, but also relieved my pain. Since then, I've organized my routine to make the most of this moment. I installed a handheld shower head, the kind you can direct wherever you want. What a wonder. It's like having a bidet throughout the bathroom. My daughter jokes that now I take longer baths than my teenage granddaughter. But I'll tell you a secret. To do this safely, I had to adapt a few things. First, I installed those grab bars, 3 of them. One near the toilet, another on the shower wall, and one more near the faucet. At first, I thought it was overkill, but today I thank each one of them, especially on days when my knee feels heavier. I also bought a shower chair. What a blessed invention. On days when I'm more tired, I can sit and do my hygiene calmly and safely. And look, it's not just any chair, it's one with holes for the water to pass through and rubber feet that don't slip. The non-slip mat, then, is a must. My son-in-law installed one of those that stick to the floor and only takes it out to wash. After Mrs. Clouser, my neighbor, slipped in her bathroom, I no longer risk taking a shower without this protection. A tip I learned from my geriatrician: taking a bath with very hot water is not good for the skin or blood pressure, so I keep it at a pleasant, warm temperature that relaxes without causing harm, and I always keep a very soft towel within reach, no balancing to reach things. Sometimes my domino friends joke that I turned my bathroom into a spa, but you know what? They're right. Every bath is now a moment of self-care, and that is priceless. Bathroom adaptations for greater safety and comfort. Let me tell you how I transformed my bathroom into a safer and more comfortable place. It all started after a small scare I had when I slipped. Fortunately, I didn't fall, but it was the wake-up call I needed. First, the grab bars. What a treasure. I installed one next to the toilet that helps me sit and stand without effort. I remember the first day. What a feeling of security. My son hired a professional to install it because it has to be very firm on the wall. He did some tests with me pulling hard, and I guarantee that thing doesn't budge even if I decide to do gymnastics. Laughs. The raised toilet seat was another change that made all the difference. Before, getting up was almost an adventure, especially after I had knee surgery. Now, it's like I've gained 15 centimeters in height. I get up without any effort. The lighting also changed completely. We installed those lights that turn on automatically when you enter the bathroom. What a wonder for nighttime visits. I no longer have to fumble around for the light switch. My daughter-in-law jokes that it feels like a futuristic house. A funny story was when I installed my shower chair. At first I resisted. I thought it was old people stuff, until the day I decided to shave during the bath while sitting on it. People, what comfort. Now I even read the newspaper sitting there, when my daughter isn't looking, of course. The non-slip mats were chosen carefully. I have one in front of the toilet, another at the shower exit, and one more in front of the sink. They are the kind that really stick to the floor. You can step on them and they don't move. My little granddaughter says they look like giant stickers. And the shower? Oh, we removed that step at the entrance. Now it's all level, no obstacles. We put up a very sturdy plastic curtain, the kind that doesn't let water escape but is easy to open and close. One tip I learned from my senior group: I organized everything I use regularly at a comfortable height. No more bending or stretching. The products I use every day are in a waist-high holder, and the less used ones are stored in the cabinet. You know what I like most? All these changes made the bathroom look new, modern. When my friends visit, they always ask for tips on where to buy the same things. Even my son said he's going to do the same in his house, and he's still young. Patience and flexibility. My friends, I'll share with you one of the most important lessons I've learned at this stage of life: the art of patience. And look, it wasn't easy, believe me. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was trying to use that new bidet they installed in my bathroom. On the first day, I soaked everything. The toilet, the floor, even the hand towel hanging up. I was so frustrated that I almost gave up. But you know what my granddaughter told me? "Grandpa, even riding a bike, we have to learn first." And wasn't she right? Over time, I got the hang of it. Today, I use that bidet as if I was born with one. But I had to be patient with myself, accept that some things take longer now, and that's okay. One thing I learned was to do everything calmly. In the past, it was a rush to take a shower and get out. Now, I reserve a little more time for my hygiene. If I used to spend 15 minutes, today I use 30, and I don't feel guilty at all about it. As my friend Connie says, haste makes waste, especially after 70. I had to accept that some things have changed in my body. Stiffer joints in the morning, that occasional numbness. At first, I got angry, wanting to do everything the old way. It was my geriatrician who helped me understand that adapting is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. A funny story was when I decided to try that long-handled hygiene tool. At first, it was like learning to write again, all clumsy. My daughter, with all her patience, taught me how to use it. Today I laugh remembering my clumsy beginnings. And you know what else I learned? To accept help without feeling less independent. At first I was embarrassed to ask for help, even to open a shampoo bottle. Now I ask without a problem. As my domino friend Joe says, asking for help isn't being dependent, it's being smart. Every day is a new learning experience. Sometimes things work out the first time, sometimes I need several attempts. But the important thing is not to give up and to keep a good sense of humor. After all, as my granddaughter says, "Grandpa, you're not getting old, you're becoming an expert in adaptations." Maintaining a healthy diet. My dear ones, I'll tell you how I discovered that our hygiene starts long before the bathroom. It starts in the kitchen. And look, what a transformation it made in my life. You know, I always loved a hearty meal, a warm piece of bread for breakfast. But after I turned 75, I started noticing that my intestines weren't as friendly to these treats anymore. That's when my nutritionist, a very patient young woman, taught me some things that changed my routine. I'll tell you a funny story. One Sunday, my daughter brought a bowl of oatmeal with fruits for my breakfast. I looked at it suspiciously. It looked like bird food, but she insisted so much that I tried it. Today, I can't live without it. I mix it with papaya, banana, some berries, and it's delicious. My intestines thank me every day. Water then became my best friend. I have a bottle that my grandson gave me, one of those that keep the water cool. I carry it everywhere. At first, I thought I'd be running to the bathroom all the time, but my body got used to it. Now, if I don't drink my 8 bottles a day, I feel like something is missing. A discovery I made was the power of vegetables. Before, I only ate lettuce with tomato. Today, my plate looks like a painting with so many colors: broccoli, carrots, beets, spinach. And you know what's interesting? When we eat these things, everything works better inside. I remember the day I took my first healthy lunchbox to the Domino group. It had brown rice, beans, steamed vegetables, and a grilled sardine. The people were curious, tried it, and now everyone brings healthy lunchboxes. We even created a recipe exchange group. The nutritionist also taught me about dried fruits, prunes, apricots, raisins. At first I thought they were expensive, but when I saw the benefits, I realized I spent much more on other less healthy products. Now I always have a small pot with these fruits to snack on during the day. And you know what? This change in diet even affected my mood. I feel more energetic, sleep better, and that constipation that bothered me so much, a thing of the past. As my friend Dulcie says, we are what we eat, and I want to be always colorful and light. Preserving dignity and independence. My friends, today I want to talk about something very special. How I maintained my dignity and independence despite all the changes that age brought. It's a story I carry with great pride. I remember well the day my daughter suggested installing grab bars in the bathroom. I confess that at first I resisted. I thought it was admitting a weakness. But you know what I learned? That using these adaptations is not a sign of frailty. It's a sign of intelligence. I'll share a situation that changed my perspective. I was at my friend Carl's house, who insisted on not using any bathroom adaptations. One day he slipped and had to stay at his daughter's house for 2 weeks. After that, we talked a lot and realized that being independent is precisely knowing how to use the right tools to take care of ourselves. The extended handles for hygiene, for example, became my great allies. At first, I was embarrassed to use them, especially when I had guests at home. Today, I explain to everyone with the greatest naturalness. As my granddaughter says, "Grandpa, you became a senior influencer." One thing I learned was not to be ashamed to ask for help when needed. The other day I had a severe backache and asked my caregiver for help with the bath. Before I would have felt humiliated, but now I understand that this is self-care. As my doctor says, asking for help is not losing independence, it's ensuring you continue doing things safely. I organized my bathroom in a way that allows me to do almost everything alone. Everything is within reach, well labeled. After all, sometimes I forget where I put things. I even have a special stool for when I need to reach something higher. My son jokes that my bathroom is more organized than his office. And you know what else? I learned to be proud of my adaptations. When I have friends of my age visiting, I always show them all the solutions I found. I've already helped several of them come up with ideas for their own homes. As Mrs. Daisy from the exercise group says, just because we're getting older doesn't mean we've lost our worth. Knowing when to ask for help. My dear ones, today I'll talk about something that took me a while to learn, but changed my life. The importance of recognizing when we need help. You know, I was always one of those stubborn people, the I can do everything alone type. Until the day I had a small scare in the bathroom. I slipped lightly and even without falling realized I needed to rethink some things. I'll share a story that marked me a lot. One morning, I had a severe arthritis flare-up in my hands and couldn't open my shampoo bottle. I spent almost half an hour trying, frustrated, until my caregiver knocked on the door asking if everything was okay. At that moment, I realized how foolish I was not to ask for help. After that, I started making a list of things that were more challenging for me. It wasn't easy to admit my limitations, but it was liberating. I took this list to my geriatrician, and together, we planned solutions. Some things were simple, like changing product bottles to easier-to-open ones. Others required more help, like having someone assist me with the bath on days when the pain is stronger. An important discovery was occupational therapy. My therapist, Mrs. Anna, taught me incredible tricks to do everyday things more easily. As she always says, it's not about doing or not doing, it's about doing it differently. Family support was also crucial. I created a code with my children. When I put a green cloth on the bathroom doorknob, everything is fine. If it's red, I need help. They love the idea, and I feel safer knowing I can signal when I need assistance. And you know what I discovered? That asking for help doesn't mean losing independence. On the contrary, the more I learn to accept help with the things that are really difficult, the more energy I have to do the things I can do alone. As my grandson says, "Grandpa, you're not a superhero, but you're super smart." Today I understand that knowing how to ask for help is a sign of wisdom. At our age, we don't need to prove anything to anyone. The important thing is to live well, with safety and dignity. As my friend Betty always says, it's better to ask for help and live peacefully than to be stubborn and live worried. This was our journey together through all the chapters. I hope my experiences can help others live better and more safely. Remember, we are not alone on this journey. To conclude the series of chapters, I could add a final closing message summarizing all the lessons learned. Final message, our journey of learning. My dear friends, we've reached the end of our conversation about how to live better in this very special phase of life. Throughout these chapters, I've shared with you not only practical tips, but also my own experiences, fears, achievements, and lessons learned. We learned together that there's no shame in adapting our hygiene routine. Every change, no matter how small, can bring more comfort and safety. Our diet makes all the difference in our well-being. The bathroom can and should be a safe and welcoming place. Asking for help is an act of wisdom, not weakness. Patience is our best friend at this stage of life. As my granddaughter says, "Grandpa, you're not getting old, you're getting wise." And it's true. Every adaptation we make, every new tool we learn to use, every time we ask for help when we need it, all this makes us wiser and more prepared to enjoy this stage of life. Always remember, we are not alone on this journey. There are many people willing to help, many solutions available, and always a new way to do old things. The secret is to keep an open heart to learn and a good sense of humor to face the challenges. As my dear friend Mrs. Dawn from the exercise group would say, life is like a dance, and sometimes we need to learn new steps, but the important thing is to keep dancing. I hope my experiences help you dance this dance of life with more safety, comfort, and joy. After all, growing older is a privilege that deserves to be lived with dignity and self-love. Let me share one more piece of advice that I hold dear. Never be afraid of the adjustments life demands as we age. Each change, each adaptation, is not a step back but a step forward, into a life where comfort, security, and independence remain part of who we are. This process of embracing change is not about losing who we are, but rediscovering and reinventing ourselves. Remember how I told you about bringing safety to the bathroom? About the soft cotton cloths for personal hygiene? About how accepting help or using special tools brought independence back into my life? Each of those areas required me to accept the fact that I couldn't do everything like I did when I was, say, 40 years old. But instead of this realization being a burden, it became my strength because I let go of the fear of change. Take, for example, the small handheld bidet device that helps me clean myself without needing friction or harsh products. I wasn't comfortable with it at first. It felt strange, almost improper to rely on something so modern when I had spent decades using regular toilet paper. But once I gave it an honest try, I couldn't imagine going back. Similarly, Installing additional bathroom aids, and even the much-talked-about elevated toilet seat, didn't just make life easier. It enhanced my sense of control over my surroundings. And then, there's the way I discovered the joys of a healthier diet. Who would have thought that something as simple as eating oatmeal with fruit could improve so many areas of my daily life? Or how drinking plenty of water could work wonders for my overall well-being? These aren't just actions, they're investments in longevity, dignity, and vitality. Another critical lesson I took away from everything we talked about is that there's absolutely no shame in leaning on others, from family and friends to professionals, when the path gets difficult. Growing older is a collaborative effort. It involves sharing wisdom, offering support, and graciously accepting help when needed. Whether it's a friend recommending a tool that changed their daily life, or a caregiver kindly lending a hand during a tough day, collaboration adds richness and community to this stage of life. And let's not forget that aging gracefully is also about celebrating the moments of joy. In our group meetings at the senior center or during friendly games of dominoes, I've come to see how humor, kindness, and shared experiences create bonds beyond what words can describe. When we laugh together about mishaps, like using a new gadget improperly, remember how I sprayed water everywhere with the handheld bidet? What an adventure that was. What we're really doing is showing our resilience. My grandson jokes that I've become a tech-savvy elder, but let me tell you, it's not just about learning to use new tools, it's about embodying adaptability and resilience. Every time I share my stories about toilet adaptations, dietary changes, or hygiene enhancements with friends, I see the light of recognition and encouragement in their eyes. We are united in our journey to make life as comfortable and as fulfilling as it can be. And as I've said before, aging isn't about becoming less capable. It's about becoming wiser and engaging with life more proactively. It's a transition, yes, but transitions are powerful. They allow you to grow into the version of yourself that suits this new chapter in life. All the solutions I've shared, the systems I've implemented, and the stories I've told have one message. Life is worth improving at any stage, and when we embrace changes with courage and good humor, the rewards are immeasurable. Let me leave you with a final thought from Mrs. Dawn, the same dear friend from my exercise group. She often says this during our weekly chats: when life changes, we have to adjust our tempo. But that doesn't mean the dance has ended. It just means it's time for a new rhythm. So, my friends, as you think about our journey through all these lessons, remember that each adaptation, each adjustment, and each act of care you bring into your life is part of that rhythm. It's part of the choreography to living with dignity, independence, and pride in yourself and your experience. It's not about avoiding challenges. It's about rising to meet them equipped with patience, flexibility, and an open heart. And if you stumble, you're just a step closer to mastering the dance. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey with you. And always remember, you're not alone in this. Together we create a life filled with new ways to thrive.